Yeah, but it's yeah, if you're not organized, if you don't have a system, then it can seem like you're always chasing, right?
Yes.
Your mind is always going. So I think that's a great conversation for us to have and a good place for us to start. Well, hello everybody. Good evening and welcome back to another show of Into the Woods. This is Dwayne
This is Denise.
This is Danita.
and we welcome you tonight. As you learn about us, you hopefully will learn a little bit about yourself. And as we are in the woods, then we get to come out of the woods together. You guys heard kind of the intro to the show. We're going to be talking a little bit about organization and how do we do things? How do we organize our lives? And that's what we're going to be discussing tonight. If you've not already done so, please go ahead and hit the like button for this show. If you're watching this, please go ahead and put in it hashtag into the woods. That's into the woods, WOODES, hashtag into the woods, as we continue to try to build this platform and this show. Subscribe and also share it with your family and your friends. Let them know that we are here and come back for our next video. So, guys, how are you doing this week?
Good.
Nope, I'm doing okay.
Okay, yeah. Kind of
Awesome.
tired, but
Yeah.
Denise, before you came on, I was telling Danita that I just woke up from my nap, and I told
Oh,
Blake, I said my phone doesn't go off. You need to wake me up. But it's been one of those weeks, where it wasn't like anything major happened, but
that's
I
true.
was just tired.
Me too. I was
yeah.
saying that to myself as I came in tonight. I'm like, why am I so tired? I really didn't do anything different, but I
Mhm.
am exhausted and I don't understand why. It's crazy. I don't know if it's the weather because it's been really hot and then it's gotten cold. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but
Mhm.
I'm tired.
Mm,
Yeah.
for
Well,
sure, for
I
sure.
think my tiredness is, as I said last week, and it still continues until next week. We're getting ready for school to close, so there's a lot of activities that's happening, a lot of packing, a lot of partying. Kids running around, the class is a little disarray, but that's where my tiredness is coming from. So,
Right. Wow. Yeah. So I guess that's a good segue into what we're talking about tonight. Or, I I don't know whether it's organization or just a method that we use to get through our day and our week and to get things done. Um, I guess first of all, do you guys think that you are quote unquote organized?
I think I'm starting to become organized.
mhm.
I wasn't, or before it was just whatever went. Now I need to be, getting old, I need to have some level of structure so I can get everything in that I need done,
Mhm. Right.
before I crash at 9 p.m. at night, which is pretty early for me. But
Right.
I'm becoming organized. I used to get up for work. I'd get up at 6:30. Now I get up at 5 to do the same things I used to do to get everything in and done. So
Yeah. I used to be. I'm getting back there. I used to be very much organized, everything in its place, and I knew what. But as life became more inundated with more and more things, that kind of went to the side because you just juggle. So
Mm-hmm.
now I'm trying to get back to what I know I used to do and what worked to keep me on track.
okay.
All right. So Denise said you used to be organized,
Mhm.
but just stuff, I guess, life got in the way, and
Yeah.
so now you're kind of getting back to that. Have you been able to? And Denise, I'm talking specifically to you.
Mhm.
Have you been able to tell the difference in your productivity when you were organized
Mhm.
and then was not so organized and then now getting back to it? Have you been able to tell a difference?
Um, yeah, because my mental state, I knew what came next. Once I once I was organized and everything was in its place, my thought process was not jumbled.
Mm.
Right? Everything I knew what came next because obviously with schedule, that's still organization, right? But now everything is okay. When I get to it, I can get it done. Okay, I don't have time for this. I'm gonna do it for 5 minutes. And then, okay, we're gonna do this, and then everything is just a mishmash. So
Mm.
yeah, there is a difference.
Okay. Okay. The difference. So do you find, and you, I mean, as a teacher,
Yeah.
did you find that your creativity is better in the like the organized state, or it was the same? Everything was still the same.
The creativity is better because you know exactly what you. Okay, so when I put packets together, so I'm just going to talk how I get my lessons. When I put packets together and I know what lessons or what worksheets are coming next, right? I can divert from that a little bit because I can always come back and look and say, okay, this is here. But when it's not prepared, right? You kind of flounder. Okay, what do we? How do I get the children to understand? If I divert from this, can I pull them back to where I really want them to? So yeah, your creativity kind of wings.
Right. Wow. Wow. Now, Danita, you were talking earlier as we were getting into this about journaling, and we'll come back to talk a little bit more because I think journaling is going to be a big part of probably some people's who are listening, some of what they do. But tell me a little bit, what has journaling done for you in terms of organization and getting things done?
Well, the journaling really has cleared my mind. I used to be. It felt like I was in a fog, So the journaling helped me. Like I said to you earlier, it's like a dump. Like I was able to
Hmm.
just dump everything on the pages, and then I could think clearer as to what it is I really wanted to do, as
Hmm.
opposed to just pulling things from the air. So it just helped me be more direct in what I wanted to do or I need to do. And then I can just put it in order and pretty much really follow what, these new things that I set in place.
Right. Right. Okay. In our office, we did, or we do, I shouldn't say we did, but we do a personality profile for anyone that we are thinking about hiring to be part of our team. And we use the thing called DISC, DISC, DISC. And it's interesting to kind of see people in their, or I said see people as part of their personality, right? So there are these four personalities that we find, and I won't go into the details of all of them, but these four personalities are interesting in that, let's say, in the example for one of the one of the programs that we do, they say, hey, we're going to build a bridge, right? And the D, the person who's the D, we have a meeting. Hey, we're going to build a bridge. And the D starts to leave. And you're like, hey, where are you going? He said, we're going to build a bridge. He said, but I haven't tell you anything about the bridge yet. But they're going out, they buying a dynamite, they're buying pickaxes, right? They blowing up stuff because we're building a bridge. So they're getting stuff done. The I is the person, you tell them, hey, we're going to build a bridge, and they start to leave. It's like, where are you going? He's like, oh, I'm going to get some chips. We're going to make sure we got juice for everybody. We got to make sure we got fans. We got the little blow up things because they want to party, right? That's the I's. The C's, well, I'm going to skip I'm come to the C's in a minute. The S's are the people who, hey, I'm going to make sure that Denise and Danita are working well together. Does Danita have everything she needs? Does Denise have everything she needs? Is she comfortable? Right? They're making sure everybody is able to work as a cohesive team. And the C's are like, wait. We can't do this anything. We can't do anything. You're like, why? He said, well, we don't. How much? What's the budget? Is it a steel bridge? Is it a wood bridge? Is it a
Bridge.
bridge going north to south? I mean, what are you guys doing? Right? But it takes all of those people to be able to build the bridge.
Right.
And what I find is that in our office, and I'm looking at the people, each person has their particular strengths. There are some people who are more organized than others. You can imagine the C that I just mentioned. extremely organized,
Mhm.
right? Because they want everything done. The D's and the I's, the people who are blowing stuff up and getting the party together, not so much organized. And so as we're going through our day, depending on our personalities, right, our organization really lends itself to us being able to do stuff. So, with that said, what do you think you guys are? Like, if you pick one of those DISC, what do you think you guys are?
Just give us a brief definition one more time. I'm sorry. So
So
the
so
D's
the
are
so the D's are the people who are movers, right? They get stuff done. They may not get it
They
done
don't
in the
know the
right way. Like
details.
for instance, if I say, "Hey, I need this room cleaned," right?
Mhm, mhm.
You come back and the room is clean, right? But
Right.
everything is out on the street. But the room is perfect.
Right.
The I's are those people who, you say, "Hey, I want this room clean," and you come, and the room may be getting clean, but everybody's like talking, telling about their weekend, how things went. Yeah, hey, what are we having for lunch, right? The S's are just around making sure that everything is working well. They just, hey, Denise, Nita, I see you guys are moving this table. Is everything going good? Yeah. Okay. Good. 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 Oh, Dwayne and Danita, I see you guys need to do this other thing over here. You guys have everything you need? So they're making sure everybody's good. And then the C's are the ones like, hey, you guys need to move this table over there 2 feet. You guys need to make sure you vacuum under there. They're the ones who have all the lists. And how much money do we need? Do we have to hire somebody to come move this table, or is everybody here able to do it by themselves?
Okay.
I
I
think
think
I'm a D and a I.
Danita, you
You
think you're a
know,
DI?
yeah, I think so. Because I just want things done, and I want to talk. Like
Mm-hmm.
have fun while we get it done. And
Okay.
then I think then maybe what's the one that has the list?
The C's.
Then the C would come, and then the last one. I think that's
Okay.
how I pan out.
DICS. Okay. DICS.
I think I'm a C to
You think you're a
start.
C?
Yeah. I like to know where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
Why you put it there?
What? Why did you put it?
Be there? Was it supposed to go there? How is it supposed to be? That's pretty much me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, S is the party. You said like
No,
I
S
like
is the kind of stabilizer. That's the person who wants to make sure everybody's doing okay.
right. No, I don't think.
You you don't think that's you? You don't think that's
um,
you?
yeah, I think I'm C.
You think you're a
Um,
C?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we did it. So I thought I was a different. I'm an I. I'm a high I, right? Um, so I'm the one getting the chips and the dip. In the whole scheme of building the bridge and cleaning the room, yeah, I'm the one who's gonna be bringing music and so forth.
Right. Right.
So as a result of that, I have found that I have to have a very detailed structure around me
Right.
for me to be successful,
Okay.
right? So here comes the positives and negatives of some of these people, and this is playing into our discussion tonight. If I have a structure, I am super productive.
Okay.
And I mentioned to you guys earlier that I use this thing called Notion.
Right.
So Notion now, and then when I had an assistant before, right, those things help me be productive.
Right.
But if my assistant is also an I, right,
Mhm.
or I don't have a structure to do it, then my productivity decreases. And back to what you were describing earlier, Denise, my creativity goes down because I don't have this thing behind me that's keeping me going, right? So we have to have that, and whichever personality you are, I think the C's are already going to have they create their own structure. So that's Denise, right? So she's creating her structure. This is what it's going to be like. And as you're describing, sometimes when they don't have the structure, when they go away from that, it seems like, okay, the world is going crazy because they don't have that thing for themselves. So how do you guys get through your day? How do you start your day?
How do you start? Well, you mean at work or just regular day?
Just regular day. So as you get into your day, do you get up and, okay, this is my list for this is what I got to do today? Or do you just kind of feel your way, whatever comes next comes?
Right now, as I expressed to you before, it's just been a little chaotic for me. I used to wake up at 5:30 and give myself leisure time to think about what I have to do. But now I'm just shooting out the bed. So there starts the chaos, right? Because now you have to find what you have to wear, do your hair, different things like that. So for me right now, my day starts off a little chaotic and then it just continues.
Mm.
It continues for me right now.
Okay. All right.
So,
How about you, Danita?
well, like I said, I'm learning. So now I get up at 5. I wake up at 5 and I lay there for a half an hour. Then I'll get up at 5:30 and I'll jump on Amazon, check out my back office. Then about 6 o'clock, I'm gonna start doing my exercises. 6:30 is the shower, iron the clothes, do the hair, out the door, get to work, say hello to everybody, sit down, and I start doing my work. So that's how my day goes. Make my calls, and so I created well, I started doing that, and it's again started coming naturally, as I cleared my head, as you
Right.
asked before. So it
Right.
just started. I mean, it's not something I thought of. It just happened on its own.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I
Um.
remember Denise said at one point, I forgot what we were talking about. She feels like though she has an internal clock that she thinks she wants to do it at a certain time and she gets it done. That I had that at one point. This is going to be done at this time, and it was done. Internal clock. It just was like clockwork. No pun
On
intended.
time.
But for some reason, like I said, that's wings. So I have to learn it over again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
You know,
yourself?
I have a routine that I go through in the morning. Um, I have a digital planner that I use. So I get up and I go through, and I have pre-created questions, preset questions that I answer every morning. As soon as I get up, I go through those questions and I fill in the questions, and those questions prompt what I have to do for that day. Okay. So depending on what I have to do. So this morning when I got up, one of the things on the list was basketball because Blake had a basketball game. Two was I had to meet with a classmate because we had to do a recording. This show, right, was on there. So the three major things that I had to do today were those three things. And so everything else had to fit in
To
where
that.
it fit in because those were the things top of list or top of my mind. And so I worked everything around those, and then I have got my devotion that I do and so forth. And if I don't go through that, like I've had not many recently, but I've had mornings where I got up and I was rushing. Maybe got up late or stayed up late, and so got up and I boom, and I hit the road. And then somewhere in the middle of the day, it's like, okay, everything just seems off center, just not like anything was like nothing was burning down and things falling around me, but my
Weird. You
day
missed
just
something.
did yeah, it was just off. And then I said, what's going on today?
Mhm.
Oh, I didn't do my thing. So I didn't have my things that were top of my list. I was just doing things that were coming at me.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
And sometimes I get to the end of that day and the things that I should have done,
Mhm.
right, weren't done
Right.
because other things took priority for it. So
Mhm.
yeah. So there are lots of different ways to organize,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to think once again, and this is a family show. I'm thinking back to growing up, the
Uh-huh.
six of us in the house, six kids.
Uh-huh.
Um, did we really? Did we have? We didn't have like a schedule. I know, like we used to watch what was that show? Eight is Enough, or the Brady
Right.
Bunch. And I remember they had on the refrigerator, Bobby's schedule and
Yeah.
Jan's
Yeah.
schedule, and we didn't have that.
Yeah, we thought
No.
they were crazy. We're like,
We
what is this?
You know what? We actually did because you guys tell the story. Me and Dania probably vaguely remember it. Rama was a key show that triggered something that should have been happening.
Ooh,
Wasn't happening.
I'm flashbacks.
So
Ooh,
sometimes,
that is true.
yeah,
That is
so,
true.
yeah, we have those schedules, but
Hmm.
it's not. It might be triggered by regular things, not necessarily that you wrote them down.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
And
Yeah, we
and
just
perhaps maybe our parents had the schedule, but we just fit in the schedule and we didn't see it written.
Right.
But what you were describing for everybody who's listening, there's this show called Wonderama, um, and we used to watch it on Sundays. And before the show, we woke up and everything was free for all,
great.
and we watched the show. And after the show, there was a series of things that we had to sit, we had to read, we had to write an essay, a little description of what we read, and then we went through the day. I mean, and so the start of the day, and this was on Sundays. It was Wanderama. Of course, during the week there was school and all that kind of stuff. Um, but so you are right. So there was this kind of schedule, but we just maybe never saw it written down.
Yeah, no, we didn't think of it as a schedule. It
Right.
We
just
didn't think of
it
it.
just like we don't want Wonderama to end. That's part all we thought of,
That's
What
right.
time is it? It's gonna finish in 10 minutes. Oh man.
Yeah. The song will start and we knew mommy or daddy, one of them coming.
All
Time
right.
to turn on the TV, get your books.
Yeah,
So
buddy.
yeah, you're right.
And so we know it's up to you understand. It's
I'm
time to
triggered.
lend a helping
Triggered.
hand. Kids are people. Kids are people. Anyway, yeah. I could, and you know what? It's
Huh?
funny that I have not had anybody sing that song to me or
Mm-hmm.
heard that song sung,
Uh-huh.
but I remember I could sing it right now. The whole thing.
You did. I haven't heard it either. You just did.
Because it is etched in my mind. Etched in my mind.
Yeah.
So back to organization. I think a lot of times for me, my work, the stuff of work gets done, right? Because you got to do it.
Work.
So what I've done is I've blocked off the work time. Okay, whatever. 7:30 to 12, or 7:30, 11 to 30 in the morning, and then 1:15 to 5. That's my work time, and that's going to get done. Whatever happens there happens. But my non-work life is what I'm trying to organize
Right.
around everything else, because that's when my rest of my life happens, right? My
Right.
shows, my interviews, my connecting with people, connecting with my son, connecting with my wife. And if I don't add those things in, right, they get left out. Like if I don't put in, okay, walk with Charmaine on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If I don't actually put those on my calendar, sometimes it gets lost, which is not a good thing, by the way.
Right.
So don't you find that, I mean, you've been doing it for some time now, don't you just kind of find, like Denise was mentioning, that you just automatically do it now because it should be etched in you like subconsciously at this point. So do you think you're becoming too dependent on your schedule? Is that a thing? Or
Good. I mean, that's a good question. When and Notion, my assistant was with me for a year and a half maybe, and when she left about 5 months ago, 5 6 months ago, um, as a matter of fact, when she was about to leave, my brain started going into like, oh my god, what am am I gonna do? Right?
Right.
And so I said, okay, what do I need to do? And I was thinking back, and the most organized time in my life was
Was
when
when?
I was the chief resident for my residency program when I was doing my training, right? So I had to organize, clinics and call schedules, and there were these 16 people that were their schedule depended on what I did.
Mhm.
Right.
And so I was super organized and I was so dependent on it. But that was probably the most, it was a stressful time because I was training, but it was probably the most freeing time in terms of scheduling. And so what I did was I really went back to that. I said, okay, I need to have my life. Whew.
Right.
And I am very dependent on it. And I don't know if I'm too dependent on it,
Right.
but once I did that, like now, in terms of doing things, I don't stress. I was
Okay.
showing you guys earlier the notion when I think of an idea, I just write it down and it's out of my head and I don't think about it again until it's time for me on my schedule. It says review ideas. So I go back.
Right. So you get an alert.
But I have a question.
Yeah, go
Do
ahead.
you find that because you're scheduling your life, because I've spoken about me being all haphazard, and but there are, because you're so all over the place, there are empty pockets, right? Um, do you find that because you're scheduling that your life is a little bit more fulfilled? You know exactly what it is that you have to do, so that if there is a pocket, okay, well, I couldn't do this, I can fill it with this. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And you described it, I mean, perfectly, right? Because you would think that because you're so regimented that it's boring or you're like, oh, I don't wouldn't like that or I wouldn't have time to do stuff. But because I am so regimented,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, okay. I really don't have anything right now. Oh, let me go talk with Blake. Let me go sit with him. Like so, right before before we show the show, I went out there and hung out with him for a couple of minutes, right?
Okay.
Because there was that free time,
Right. Mhm.
and Fridays, and I made a mistake. I scheduled something on a Friday, and usually Fridays are for Blake, right? Friday afternoons. I don't do anything on Fridays, and I scheduled something, and the last 2 weeks it's been very hectic, right?
Okay.
Because I put that thing in there,
Mhm.
and as I was doing it, I was like, "This is not part of your schedule. What are you doing?"
Right.
I said, "Okay, it'll be okay," but it wasn't okay.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Well,
but good question.
we spoke previously about habits. Remember, we spoke about that habits.
Hmm.
They
Right.
become, they do become ingrained in you. This habit,
Yeah,
because if, as you spoke before, if you don't do it, it throws you off. Yeah. So.
for sure, for sure. Okay, so do you guys find that you're in terms of organization, is it just having a global sense of organization that's good for you, or do you have to have each of your hours kind of mapped out?
I think it's more global for me.
Yeah.
I don't need
Nice.
my hours mapped out. I
Mhm.
went through my morning routine until I got to work. So if you're speaking hourly, then in the morning my it needs to be that way, you know. But it's more global than
Hmm.
Mhm.
anything
Yeah, they,
else.
no.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
because when you're at work, you're scheduled slightly. You have to schedule the work, but your day in that time is already scheduled, so you already know what you're doing.
Right,
It's
right.
before you get there and when you leave there. Now you have to schedule everything else. Yeah,
Hmm.
beyond that.
All right. So what are some things, and you don't have to give us specifics, but what are some things aside from work that you guys find that you have to schedule, or things that you have in mind that you want to do that you haven't
Mhm.
done because it's not scheduled?
Well, for me, go because I drive drive coming home, back and forth, walking. You scheduled walking in with Charmaine. I need to start scheduling that, because if I don't, I won't. I'll get out the car and come upstairs, and okay, well, I'm upstairs now. I'm not going down there, you know. But if I schedule it, if I leave work and say, okay, you know what, I have to let me change so that when I do get out the car, I just go and walk, right? So that's one thing I do really want to start doing, but because it's not in the schedule and whatever pops into my mind, I do, right? It's not being done.
Mm.
But it is something that I would like to do.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Tanita?
I don't know if the only thing that's coming to mind right now is to get back to my dancing, um,
Mhm.
and trying to figure out how to best do that. Because in the evenings I'm tired unless I go to a specific place where they do it in terms of a lounge or something. And the weekend I'm tired. Saturdays I'm sleeping all day. Sunday you got to do your chores. I don't know where it's gonna fit. It's not doing it on the weekend, so I have to figure out where that would fit. And I think that's the only thing right now that I
Right.
think I really need to schedule.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think. I think before, like, if you saw me, I'm gonna go back for a while. So maybe a year and a half ago,
Mm-hmm.
um, things just came, right,
Mm-hmm.
and I just did them as they came. Um, and so my coaching video things that I do, my channel, those were things that I wanted to do, but I didn't do because I quote unquote didn't have time. But it
Right.
wasn't that I didn't have time. I just didn't have a schedule for them.
Right.
And I
Right.
found that once I got them scheduled, right, once, okay, this hour is going to be what you do. And so now at nighttime at 9:30 is my extra work, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
It
Mhm.
does.
So that's where I do all of my work for my YouTube channel, for my social content that I put in, for my coaching that I do at 9:30 at night. That's when it is. But if I didn't have that, or if I allow something to creep in, because there
Right.
have been times where I have had a conversation, been having a conversation, had a meetup with someone, and I allowed it to go over, and so that time was taken up. And then I've got, okay, now I got to pay catch up for those other things. But that would be the thing. So my non work related things, or spending time with Blake, right? Because of my work schedule, when I come home, a lot of times he's been home, he's done his homework, he is watched his TV, and it's almost time to go to bed. And so I want to spend some time with him, other than, okay, time to go to bed, let's pray, let's get you in, right? So
Right. Right.
so I've had to schedule those types of things.
So, do you feel once you start your schedules, like
Mm-hmm.
I said, for me, sometimes they just happen naturally, but the ones that you actually make a point to schedule, do you feel an internal level of resistance when you really start saying, okay, this, I'm going to do this? Do you feel it yourself? You're like, I don't really feel like I want to do that. But you have to push through anyway and get it done.
It depends on what it is.
Mhm.
One of the great things about being in the digital community, the YouTubers, is that everyone is very interested in everyone being successful, and so there are times where they will schedule work time where you log in and you're not talking to people. You just sit there and you do your work, but
Okay.
you know that there is a place where people are working,
Right,
Yes.
right.
right?
Okay.
So yes, there are times when I've got something I have to do, and I'm like, oh man, um, maybe. Oh, I wanted, this is a book I wanted to read. Well, that book has been there for like months and months. How come all of a sudden now,
Right.
right? Because my brain is saying, okay, I don't want to do that other thing. Let me go find
Right.
something that probably is more
Entertaining.
entertainment. Well,
Right.
which goes back almost to our show. Remember we did the show on social media,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what happens a lot. So, oh, I've got to do this, but let me check this real quick.
Right.
Right.
All right, let me see if anybody, is out there. If anybody responded to my, oh, it's part of my business, but yeah, but that's not what's on the schedule right now.
Right.
Schedule.
Exactly.
Right. You got to stick to the schedule.
Yeah.
Or Danita, I'm gonna pick on you, right?
Sure.
So or working on a journal, uploading a journal, creating
Mm-hmm.
whatever, right? The
Mm-hmm.
brain is gonna say, oh, let me do this other thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're not
And
careful,
it does.
and
It
Denise, I don't
does.
know about when you're creating your lesson plans or those types of things. Do you find that something is that a place where something else wants to take over, or do you have something in mind or something that you try to do where, oh, let me watch TV right now, or let me talk to Danita, really, yeah, let me do something other than what I'm supposed to be doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You sit down like, okay, what are we gonna? Oh, punctuation. But okay, well, I don't feel like I could do that tomorrow. Really quick, make a lesson and be done with it. But there was a time that I did schedule.
Hmm.
It was always Sunday at 7, 2 hours. I gave myself to write my lessons, which I do, by the way. To those of you who are listening, I do still write lesson plans. But at that time when I schedule it,
Hmm.
every whatever it is that it just kept going and going and going. And so even if I wanted to go on the computer, I did, but it was always for the lesson.
Okay.
So once you schedule what you need to do, and again, I'm talking about my lesson plans or whatever, your mind will tell you to do something else, but it's always wanting to go and do the thing that you're scheduled for.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Oh, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
So,
Well, let's jump in into a break right here, guys. So once again, this is Into the Woods with the Woods, right? Dwayne, Denise, and Danita. And glad that you are here watching this show. If you are not a subscriber, we encourage you to do so that you'll be alerted when we do put out new content. Hit the subscribe button and the bell. And then, of course, give this a thumbs up. If you been in a situation where you have scheduled or not scheduled? Are you a scheduler? Do you have a schedule? Do you have a routine that you're working? Go ahead and put those in the comments. We love to hear from you. And then share this with your family, share it with your friends, because we'd love to have them join us in this community as we work together to understand each other, and then for us to be able to improve. As you hear, we're talking tonight about scheduling and how we really kind of run our day. Okay. All right. So do you guys have a planner?
No.
I do not.
Okay. All right. So where's your schedule? Where's this list of things that you got to do? Where's that? Where are you keeping that scheduled?
In my head. Yeah.
Yes. It's in my head. I
It's not
don't.
in
I
your.
don't have anything written.
You don't have
No.
anything written. Okay. So tell us, Danita, good place. Tell us about your journal and where that fits into your schedule. Not necessarily creating the journals, but journaling, your personal journaling.
On the train, I write on the train when I get in because it's quiet time. It's an hour's ride, and I can
Hmm.
just write whatever it is I'm feeling, whatever ideas I have or whatever. I journal on the train when I'm going to work. That's how
Mm,
that's where that fits in.
okay.
Yeah.
And is that a time of reflection or a time of organization? Like, are you reflecting on things or are you organizing your time?
I think I'm more reflecting. I
Hmm.
think I'm reflecting more than anything. I don't think I'm because or my organization, like I said, it's in my head. I know, and it's mostly in the morning, like I mentioned. So I've already done that. So there's no more
Hmm.
organization that I need to do. I'm going to work. There's nothing I can do between 9 to 5, in regards to
Hmm.
anything else. So I'm just really pretty much reflecting as I go to work and things I feel and such. And
Hmm.
maybe what I want to write for my other journals, right? Maybe I'm doing that. I'm writing that in there. And so, yeah.
And just a brief plug there. So I asked Danita about journals because Danita has a list of journals that she has created. The first of which actually is on Amazon right now for sale, and it's a journal dealing with different. Danita, why don't you give us a 1 minute thumbnail about your journals? What are they?
So the journals I've created is it's specifically for an emotion that you may be feeling that's pretty much overwhelming for you or something you want to create. I uploaded the first journal. The name of it is Fear. Because fear stops us from doing a lot of things. It holds us back, and we don't even, we don't know why. So it's geared for you to figure out, what that is and what you have done today, tomorrow. I mean, you're not going to find out what you've done to conquer a fear, like, in one day, but it's designed to help you work through a specific emotion, um, and see, what you end up on the other side of that. So the first book up is Fear, and I've just uploaded another. It's called Habits, which we have spoken about right here on Into the Woods. So, you choose which one it speaks to you, and you just journal and see what happens.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And so Denise, Danita has the journal that she does. Do you have a specific thing that you do in terms of your organization for the day?
I just go. I just do. And again, as I said, that's why this conversation is pretty. I like that we're having this about organization, because as I said previously, I used to be, and I have been thinking that I need to be that again. So for right now, for me, I just go. So I don't really have anything as far as organization, except get up at 6:30 or 6 o'clock and just keep going until I get to work.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So,
Yeah. And as I mentioned, I have my digital organizer because I've got to have a place where that all is, because if I keep it in my head, and what's interesting, I find that if I don't have the organizer, or at least when I had someone who was helping me do it, my stress level seemed to be a little higher. Well, I should not seem to be. My stress level was higher because there's
mhm.
all this stuff that I had to keep in my head and I had to remember. And
Right.
You know
and
what you have not done. That's the part that really
is that
gets.
what it is?
Right.
Yes,
Right.
that's the
Right.
part that's getting you, because you know you're organized. You subconsciously kind of know what you have to do,
Hmm.
right? So that you have this other person or other thing just helping you along. But if you fall off that schedule, now you
Right.
know, okay, maybe this and this is done, but I
Right.
know I didn't do this, and I know I'm supposed to do this particular thing right here, because if I don't do this, it's gonna affect that, and
Mm.
that's where the snowball effect starts.
Wow.
That's where the stress
Exactly.
comes from.
Right. And you
Yeah.
can't act like you forgot, because it keeps snagging at you. Like, you try to
Yes.
say I forgot to do it, but you really doesn't, because it keeps popping up in your head. And you're like,
I
Hmm.
wait,
didn't do
I
that.
have to get it
I
done.
didn't do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So now
Right.
you start beating yourself up. That's a
Yes.
whole other situation.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But
That's a
Danita
that's
said
a whole nother that's a whole nother show.
Yes.
yes. But Danita said a word before, dump. Her
Uh huh.
journal, she dumps. Technically, when for her, she's journaling. For you, when you have your assistant, it's a dump, right? Because you don't
Mm.
have to think about it. It's there. If you need to revisit it, you open it, or you go, on your organizer, and you just open it, and it's there. It's not. It doesn't have to be retained in and so it frees your brain up for other things. So technically, what we're talking as far as organization, it's really a dump. I got this done. Okay, that's over off to the side. This is next. Okay, all right, that's done. But again, as we just said, if you forget that one thing, and you try to forget it, it's really not forgotten, because it's always something that's going to nag at you, because now it does become a habit.
That's amazing. Right. Wow.
Do you
So
think
I
people have
go ahead,
a
Anita.
lot of it because they don't clear their minds, whether it be organization, whether it be journaling, whether it be dancing, whatever it is that they do? Back to our very first show. Do you think they just, because they keep so much in their head, it just becomes overwhelming?
I think it's possible, and Denise, you just said something that makes perfect sense, but I had never thought about it that way. Now I do a brain dump at the end of the day. right? So I sit in my car and I just dump whatever's in my mind at the time. But I really never thought of just overall organization as a brain dump. And you're right,
Mhm.
because it's not in my head. I don't have to keep track of it in my head,
Mhm.
right? Then yeah, I'm getting it out. And once it's out, then whew, there's that weight that goes. So
Yeah.
very, I love that. Thank you. That's a great thought. Ooh,
You're welcome.
I'm gonna put that one. I'm gonna write that one down.
So,
The organization is a brain dump. Like it. Okay, got it. See, I just dumped it.
you push it to the side.
So now I don't have to remember it. Just put it in my thing. So, all right. So as we are kind of going through this conversation, what do you think is? And I'm gonna give each of you, 30 seconds maybe. What is it that you think that people should be getting from what we're talking about?
Clear your minds.
She said in one word.
All right, give me a little bit more so people can take away a nugget.
I mean, it's helpful the, we gonna coin brain dump. we to get things out of your mind. However, organization, journaling, however it is, to clear your minds, because once you do that, you're able to function better and get more accomplished.
Yeah.
Okay, good, good. All right, Denise.
Um, as she said, yes, clear your mind. That will lead you to again one of our conversations about finding your happy place or peaceful place. Because if you're always thinking about what you've not done or how much things you have to do, but you don't know how and when to do it, then there's no peace at all. So clear your minds, do a brain dump, and then again, as Dania says, see where your mind takes you, because you might find that you have more time than you thought you had. And so maybe something that you said that you wanted to start, or another career you thought you didn't have time to start, you absolutely have that time. But first, you have to structure yourself, get yourself at peace, and then move forward.
I love it, love it. So organization allows you to have a structure around you
Hmm.
that helps you achieve your goals. And when you are organized, you're able to do essentially a brain dump so that you're not worrying about things constantly. You're at more peace, you can be more creative, and you actually get more accomplished because you're able to see the things that you need to do. You're able to see the progress that you have. You're able to even get more time to do some of the things that you want to do because you're more organized and more efficient.
Absolutely.
Love it, love it, love it. All right. Well, I think that is going to be our call to action, right? Tonight is to get more organized. Whatever, however that is, find out what works for you. I think, there are journals, there are calendars, there are electronic devices and electronic programs that helps you get organized. The one I use is Notion, and if you go to my channel, Dwayne Wood MD, you'll see that I did a show there. Just a little plug for that. But here on Into the Woods, we are glad that you are here. We are glad that you have joined us for this show, and we hope that as you get organized and as you get your schedule, that you will include us as part of your part of your organization and as part of your schedule. This is Dwayne.
This is Denise.
This is Danita. Good night.
Thank you for being here. Bye bye.
Bye bye.